I can't hear you guys.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right.
Oh, yay. Okay,
Okay, quick, before, thank you for tuning in, Barbara. I'll call a meeting of the Nantucket Cemetery Commission to order for September 14th. I declare we have a quorum. We have 3 members present. I'll do a roll call. Fran,
present.
Barbara,
Here.
and Chairman is present. So I declare we have a quorum. And the first item of business, we got a thank you note. This is from Clary, I believe it's Layford. She's the acting director of the PIN, the Preservation Institute. And she's writing to thank us for the time her student, for the student tour of the historic Collard Cemetery, for your time at the commission meeting with the PIN student Rudolph Nigel. Your knowledge and insights are much appreciated. So that's Fran and Barbara.
Thank you.
Did you hear that, Barbara?
I did.
Good. Okay. So anyway, that was a nice little thank you note. That was under public comment. Okay, next item is approval of minutes from August 10th. Those minutes were distributed back in August. Any errors, omissions, corrections?
I sent a couple of them to Lee, and Lee acknowledged them.
He acknowledged them, and I believe he included them in the second draft that he did, and the ones that would be posted with the town. So, okay, any other comments, questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes?
We have to do a
Roll call vote. Barbara?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Right, those minutes are approved. Lot sales since our last meeting. We had 2 lot sales, lot number C19 and C20. Lot C19 goes to John Benny, B-E-N-I, and lot C20 goes to Bruce Benny, B-E-N-I also. That's father and son. They asked, also there's a third lot, C21. They asked me to hold that lot because there's a third or a second brother who may be interested in that lot. So I told them I'd hold it for a time. But anyway, the approval that is for those 2 lots, C19 and C20. Any discussion on the approval of those lots? Seeing none. All in favor? Roll call. Barbara?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Okay, those lots are committed.
How many do we now have left?
So that brings us to that discussion. We have 10 lots available at Pulpus as of today. given the fact that we had 100 and, I forgot, I think it's 121 to start, or 130, somewhere around there. We need to look to the future and okay, let's go to the next item then, which is what that is. Ken Bogrand is currently not available to the meeting today. So what I'm proposing is a field trip. I'd like to have the commission meet at Pulpus Cemetery. I would, of course, post the meeting because we would be there to discuss development. Hold on just a moment. So the idea is I'd like to get all 5 of us together and take a look at the grounds out there. They're certainly welcome to come over there too. And take a look at our existing property and see where we do have plenty of land left. But I think that in terms of any sort of an agreement with the Hicks next door, that's becoming more and more futile. I did speak with a surveyor, Joe Marklinger. He has done other work for the town. I've worked with him before as well. And he said he would be glad to come out and make recommendations as to how we might lay the lots out in the additional space out there. The simplest thing to do would be to extend the rows that we currently have, C through J, and we can extend those into property we already own toward the wood side. Over the top of the hill, and I think those would be pretty desirable lots because people like to be on the hilltop with the view. And so the question there is, those lots face east, whereas the current lots face west. And I don't know if that's an issue or not. I mean, particularly where we're dealing with remains, it's not as though we're facing somebody in a certain direction. It's just, which side do we want the toe marker on?
So if we do a field trip, will the surveyor meet with us at the same time?
He said he would be glad to meet with us out there to discuss that. And my plan is to go out there prior to our meeting. I'll put I'll get some orange lime, some twine, and I'll run it along the 2 property boundaries, the Hicks property boundary and the backside boundary. So we know, those bounds are clearly marked. We have bounds of the ground, so we know where we are in that. So Fran was proposing that we do that sometime in October. So I thought the best way to do that is to find out when everybody is available, and then I'll, as long as I have 48 hours to post the meeting and so on, then we'll just make a field trip, go out there, take a look, and figure out what we want to do next.
My commitments at the beginning of October is the 2nd through the 4th. I'm committed to the descendants of Wayland Masters from New Bedford who are coming here. But then I think I'm free. So after the 4th.
After the 4th of October.
And Alan, I can't do the 5th. I'm doing something for Yom Kippur. But I could, the 6th and the 7th, 8th, I'm free most of October, but I can't do the 5th.
Okay.
Okay, so well, we need to hear from Lee and Scotty and Charlie also as to what their availability is. So, all right, let me
after the 5th.
After the 5th, okay. Let me put that in.
And our next meeting is the 12th, so presumably you would like to do it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Could it, if everyone's available, we can meet in person on site,
Oh, that's
and
true.
everyone just bring a folding chair.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, that's, yeah, okay. All right, well, I'll circulate those date options to Lee, to Scotty, and
To us as well.
to us as well. And we'll focus on a date, and then I'll post it and away we go.
Okay.
Sales. The monument was, oh, anything else on lot sales?
Do we have to approve? Did we approve that? Did we vote to approve the Benny lots?
I'm sorry?
Did we vote to approve the Benny lots?
Oh, no, we haven't picked a date yet. We're gonna wait.
Oh, got-
I'm gonna I'll poll all the commissioners will agree on a single date and then
The time.
at a time. And Charlie just said, I wonder if we push the OK button, if that would clear that.
Yeah, sure.
Hope you don't.
So just say okay.
Yeah, just click OK.
Is it right or left or is it?
The left one.
There we go. Okay, so good. As Charlie says, we our next meeting is scheduled for the
12th.
September 14th.
That's,
No, October 12th.
Today.
so the next one will be October.
12th.
October 12th.
Oh, Columbus Day?
Yeah.
Can we
Well-
meet on a holiday?
Oh, no, Columbus,
No, we meet on the 12th.
Columbus Day is the 10th.
Oh, is the 10th?
Yeah.
Wednesday's the 10th, okay.
So it would be the Wednesday afterwards. So we could meet on site was my suggestion. If we wanted to have the actual commission meeting there, we could, I could grab a folding table.
Yeah.
And then, and some maybe some folding chairs.
Yeah.
We could just meet on site. Does that work for everybody?
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, we're permitting.
Yeah.
All right, so what we'll do is, let's say, I'll circulate an email. We'll find out the most convenient time, date and time. See if it works to do it on the 10th or whenever our next meeting is.
The 12th.
The 12th.
Is it the 12th or is it, I thought you said,
It's the 12th.
Our meeting is on the 12th. Columbus Day is the 10th.
oh, I see.
Can you guys not hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah, Columbus Day is the 10th, and the 12th is the Wednesday. So,
okay. Okay. And even though it's a holiday, it'd be okay for us to meet.
That week, yeah, it's, shouldn't affect us.
okay, so we'll get a date and we'll do that. We'll move
We
it.
will, we will.
Okay, next item, the monument restoration project. Two things here. First, to announce that Old North has been completed,
So they say.
so they say. And I spoke with Walter. Walter is the one who's in charge of, from Ludlow Monument, who's doing this. And so Charlie also, in fact, was the one who coordinated all the work and that sort of thing. So two things. We need to determine how much money we have available. And Charlie had given me some numbers, a printout from our budget thing. And so far, out of whatever, and I have to confess, I have no idea which accounts, because we have, I think, 5 different accounts.
Yeah. I can-
But so far, we've spent $40,417 for Richard Grubb for the work that they did, the surveying, the 5 cemeteries and the condition and so on. And there's another bill here for Greenman Peterson for a land survey for $32,000, and I have no idea what that's for. Any idea? Jim?
No, I just pulled up to see what the accounts.
Yeah. So 2 questions were raised for me. We need to, first of all, find out how much money we have available and which accounts they're in and all that sort of thing. Charlie has looked into that. He talked with Ann, was it at
Alice
Alice
Kellogg,
at the
Finance Department.
finance department. And we need to get clear about how many accounts or what accounts we have there and how we can access those funds. That's sort of a key question. And that will give us, how much money is available. It occurred to me, we don't have a treasurer. What's happened in the past is that when we were working with Rob McNeil, the DPW sort of handled all the money transactions that went into, whatever the accounts were and so on. So I'm not sure who's responsible for keeping track of our funds, because as I say, we don't have a treasurer. But somebody needs to be, has to have that authority. So we need to find out who is in charge of that and who authorizes the disbursements. So once we have those 2, seems like pretty basic pieces of information. It's really.
I would like to know what the $32,000 is all about.
Well, me too. As soon as I went over these numbers and I'm saying, wait a minute, land survey? What, I have no idea. Because I know we haven't paid
Is there a date?
no, unfortunately. Oh, wait, no, wait a minute, I'm sorry, effective date. Yes, 4/27/22. Both of them were 4/27. So that would have
Those
been.
I think those were days that payment was processed.
Hmm.
I believe I'll have to do a little more digging for you on to see if I can find the actual copies of invoices in the system.
That would be good to find out what they did, if they're charging the cemetery commission.
Yeah, I'm not sure if really speculating. I don't know if they may have been a local subcontractor of Richard Grubb, and they were the ones that actually pinged the actual locations of the stones, and then Richard Grubb did the photographing. I'm not sure. I'll have to try to dig into that a little bit more.
Was that part of the
Well,
bid?
no,
I'm not. I'll have to look because all that was work that kind of predates
my understanding is that the 43,000 or whatever it was,
4417.
yeah, 40,017 was for all the 5 cemeteries that they looked at. That's my understanding.
Right.
Well, we need to pin down what this other bill is for.
No, exactly. That's what. Those are the 2 key questions, Joe. How much money do we have available? Who's responsible for keeping track of the funds, and about those 2.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because the way it sits currently, there's about, I think it's, let's do this quickly. Out of the CPC grant fund, I believe there's $8,300 left to be used for restoration work.
mhm.
That's not very much.
Now I was going to propose, I talked to Walter while he was here and asked him to go look at Quaker Cemetery, which is highly visible and is our least amount of work.
Yeah.
And he's given me a bid because it's under $10,000. We don't have to go through the whole big procurement process. Seeing as he's worked for us before, we all kind of like.
But we only want to engage them to do it if they're satisfied with what they've done.
Right, so I was gonna ask if,
Yeah.
we have, I have an estimate from him that comes in under the amount of money we have, so if everyone likes the work that's been done, we can go ahead and ask them to proceed with quicker.
Right.
And then we'll have to sort out those finances, but if we are indeed out of money, what I did find out from talking to Alice was that the cemetery lot sale money cannot be used for restoration work. But it can be used for land surveying, for corner markers, for
Good.
cemetery layout, for any of that stuff.
If we can
But
find
it
out,
does have to be approved by town meeting. And
but if this $32,000, this mysterious $32,000 is for lot surveying, then that would seem to be something that we could use lot sale money to pay.
We need to find out what,
We just
right,
have
I
to
don't know,
find
I don't know
out
if they lumped, if that was surveying and because it was. I'm not trying to work on how we have to go about accessing the lot sale money. If we can ask for that to be just transferred into an operational account that we can then draw from as we have different, like we could then use it, we can use it for brush cutting or for split rail fence work.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to find out is if we can have it transferred or transfer a lump sum into an operations account that we can then just say, hey, we'd like to hire so-and-so to come in and do this. We've got the funds, we do the purchase order and we go. Or if we have to go before town meeting with each specific item, which I'm really hoping is not the case because that would be, but I just have to go through and say, we want $5,000 to have split rail fence done at this. And now we got to wait a whole year to do that. So I'm working on that.
great.
And so I'm not sure if, because of how that went down, if any of the survey work was tied to cemeteries, if it was easier to have it included in as part of the restoration work, so that it could get done without having to go through the whole town meeting to slow the process down. But that's a strictly guess by me.
would you be able to inform all the members of the cemetery commission about what this $32,000 is for by email without having to wait till next month's meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, we really need to find out what that's about.
Yeah, I'll have to do some digging to see what it
Please do, and
was.
let us know. That's a bunch of money.
Barbara?
Yeah, I want to go back to the whole idea of not having a treasurer. And wondering if, Charlie, I felt like, I've been on the commission a while, that it worked pretty well to have the DPW. None of us are accountants, to do it. Is that an issue at the DPW?
I don't think so. It's always, I think Phyllis is always, when the payments come in for the lot sales, it gets processed into our accounting system.
But it's the question of disbursements. The money coming in, right, but the money that we would like to
Yeah,
go out.
trying to spend that money is where it becomes a little more difficult. Because we'll have, like I said, we have to get town meeting approval. So as far as the treasurer, it's, I would say we could operate it, we meet monthly, it'd be very easy to do an expense. I can pull the report out of our accounting software for us every month to review.
That's a great idea.
By the way, these are all for 2022 expenses. I would be interested to take a look at 2020, 2021, et cetera.
I can see how far back I can dig. I think those are all would be fiscal 22.
Oh,
So it would actually have been July 2001 to July 2022.
But it would be kind of good to look back and really
That trust me, that confuses me more than
yeah,
looking at some of this stuff. The
That's right.
fiscal year versus the actual year.
Me too. I was a teacher for 18 years, and
Yeah. Why we can't just be the July year?
this, this two folk together, this is a lot more money than we were.
well, true. Now,
That's not,
well, my
that's
understanding,
not the bid. The bid was less, right? What was the bid?
the which bit are we talking about?
For Richard
Grubb bid.
What was his bid?
I believe it was about 40,000.
Well, we need to
No,
find out.
that's what these are all. See, these are all
Right.
Richard.
I know, but you see that the two of them are lumped together there. And
No,
that is the sum of these two numbers.
yeah, exactly. It's the sum of actually this total, this.
So if this surveying thing has to do with his work, we need to determine, was that part of the original bid?
Well, no, that's what Charlie's gonna check on to
Right.
see what that survey is for.
Well,
My understanding is that Richard Grubb, you know, his work was full price, whatever the bid was, and I believe it was around $40,000 to do the 5 cemeteries. So it wouldn't include that. That's what stood out for me. I said, wait a minute, $32,000 for surveyor? That's a lot of. That's a big surveyor.
yeah,
It's a big bill for.
we need to have that clarified.
Yeah, so the earliest date on this is December 15th, 2021. So that would have been last fiscal
Yeah,
year
but that-
through, so, yeah, anyway. All right, well, Charlie will figure that out. We'll find out what we've got there. When I was adding up in my head, we have sold, I believe it was 110 or 112 lots, which should be over $100,000 that we've put into that. Plus, we have the CPA grant funds of 100. The initial amount was 125,000, and I have no idea if any of I don't believe that any of that has been expended, but it could be that maybe when Rob was here, when he was, he did some fence work and some brush cutting, and it could be that he somehow,
Yeah, put it in under restoration.
yeah, who knows? So anyway, we'll find out. Okay, so anyway, a monument restoration project. Next, the next cemetery we'll do, once we determine how much money we have, and it looks at this point as though we have over
Call it $8,400.
yeah, $8,400. So anyway, we'll see. When I spoke with Walter at a Ludlow monument who's doing the work, he said that while he was here, he would take a look at Quaker Cemetery, get a number for Quaker. And he also then went on to say that as long as he's here, because he's currently here on a regular basis doing the sewer work, that he would take a look at the other cemeteries as well. And, you know, just sort of be aware of that. I told him that it depends on how much money we have left available and
Yeah.
our access.
Yeah, all the other cemeteries will have to go through the larger bid process.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on item 5? Okay, so, well, I guess we've really been talking about
Number 6 is. what
number
we've been
6 as
talking
well,
about,
which
yeah.
is the cemetery budget for fiscal year 23, which we are
Oh,
now,
yeah.
we're already in. So we definitely need to get a handle on how this all works. As I said, without a treasurer, we've been sort of relying on the DPW to, you know, figure all this.
I mean, it seems to me that we're really under the gun to spend the CPC money. And there's some problem about accessing it for restoration.
Now, as far as I understand, the account that we have the $8,300 left in is the CPA grant fund
But,
money.
but we haven't got more money than that, right?
Should be a lot more than that. I
Vastly
mean,
more money than that.
yeah, because even with these two bills here, that only adds up to
So it's-
70,000.
Well, what's not in there, so when I stepped in and we started here, we had a balance in the account unspent of $32,483, which we then I wrote the purchase order for the work at Old North Cemetery, which was $24,106, leaving us a balance of $8,377.
Oh, I see. So we just need to find out what any prior expenses or disbursements were.
So the number 8377 is what's left in that account.
You know, I don't understand that. Again, I think we need to look into this because I don't remember us ever spending any of that money, Alan.
And when I went backwards in the system to kind of look at the past few years, there was balance carried forward of I think it was $104,500. I think is what I was showing you the other day, and that went back into 2015 or so. It was as far back as I was looking. That balance was carried forward until what do you mean here? There, $104,900 that have been carried forward for a few years, and then so last year. So this was the money carried forward, 104,000.
So it continues the same amount.
And then
year
last
after
year it started at the $104,000, of which 72,417 was spent.
That's the money that includes this.
The
Right.
survey, with the
Yeah,
surveying and
exactly.
grub work.
Yeah.
Giving us the balance to carry forward this year of $32,483. Again, all that work kind of predates me, so I'll have to do some digging to see what it actually was.
Okay.
But that's, as far as I understand, that's the biggest account that we had anything. When I asked Alice in Finance to send me what she had for cemetery, for what accounts we have, which is these here are a list of all the accounts that are kind of tied to cemetery, and there are a few that are working accounts, such as the cemetery commission account here with $9,000. I believe that's the annual operating account. And then there's a cemetery lot sales account, which shows up as negative $81,000.
Why should we do that?
It's just how it comes through, because it's money that's earned. It goes into the accounting software like backwards. I'm learning this all, and it drives me nuts. So because that's money that we deposit stuff into, so the lot sales go into that account, it shows up as a negative, because it's not, it goes against, however, it's just where the accounting wacky accounting people decided to do things backwards. And then there are a few other accounts that are cemetery friend accounts or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever those
Exactly.
are, which we have to figure out. I'm not sure exactly those. Again, I kind of did a shallow dive with Alice as to what this was, and then kind of focus more on the CPC grant money, and then the very lightly the cemetery lot sale fund, just what we have to do to access that money. And so she and I will have to sit down and maybe even with Brian and dive in deeper as to, again, I hope if we do have to go to town meeting, hopefully we can say we've got X number of dollars worth of projects coming up. We'd like to transfer into an operations fund instead of having to set up there and go, we'd like to do split rail fence here, or hire somebody to do brush cutting here. So we'll get that all.
This isn't something we can do at the upcoming special town meeting. We have to wait to April.
I believe so. And then of course, we did, I believe, actually miss the window. So if we have to go forward for more restoration work for CPC's fund, I believe that window was, I believe, September 1st, which is fine. So hopefully we have the original documents somewhere where we went to ask for the original funds, that we can hopefully reuse those and just fix them up for what our future needs are.
Okay, well, once we have an accurate number of, what accounts we have and how we can access those, then we can start looking at what needs to be done and anyway, our goal remains to complete the restoration work on the remaining 5 cemeteries, and of course the upkeep of the other ones, but particularly with Tulsa Cemetery, where we'll be laying out new lots. It depends. Well, we can either, there are a couple of ways we can do it. We can use a surveyor. And pay a surveyor, come in and lay them out. Or we could do it ourselves.
Can we really?
By doing transect, yeah. That's how we got the last 2 rows out at Pulpus, because when we laid out the rows, we just went from, let's see, C and D weren't laid out, so we started at row E, went from E through J on whatever the map that the surveyors from the water company had laid out for us. So they had divided the whole parcel from A to Z, and then from whatever the numbers were across and so on. And so we laid out C and D after the initial ones were laid out. And the water company wasn't available to do that. So what we did is we strung a string from the known points that we had, and then we measured along the string to measure the 4 feet and the 6 feet this way. And as we measured that, we put the corner markers in, the toe marker in, and moved on and so on. So it worked.
Now, we keep talking about maybe buying one pointer and toe markers.
I
Have
know.
we done that?
No, we haven't yet, and
Well,
that's,
we would have to.
well, we have to find the money.
Yeah, so that I believe could be used out of that $9,000 we have as the cemetery commission, like active budget,
Oh, good.
I believe.
How much is this likely to cost?
The toe markers, I don't, it was so long ago that we did those. That was 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago. It seems as though it was a matter of a couple $100. We initially ordered the circular discs that we were going to use for corner markers. Those were silver, and then we ordered the toe markers that had once we figured out the lots that we had, the number, the letter and number, we ordered specifically that set of toe markers. And then when we were putting in the toe marker, the problem with the toe markers is that they get lost in the ground. Ray has a metal detector. That's how he's found them lately. But that's a recent addition there. So anyway, we can discuss that when we're out at the cemetery. Yes, Barbara?
I couldn't quite hear what Charlie said, how we should pay for the surveying. I mean, I like the idea of us doing it ourselves if we're capable of doing it. But why did I not hear earlier that we can use the sale of the lots for that sort of?
We can. We just have to we have to get town meeting approval to do so.
Is there no way that we could ask town meeting through an article that the sale of lots goes towards maintenance of the cemeteries?
That's what I'm trying to work out with finance, is whether or not we have to say we want X number of dollars for surveying, X number of dollars for brush cutting, or X number of dollars for toe markers, or if we can say we'd like to transfer lump sum of say $10,000 from the cemetery lot fund into a general operations account for cemetery.
Every year. And it
that
just seems to me that we should have the authority to access that money, and we can't, rather than go before town meeting every year, we can't just do it through a different bylaw and make it so that we have access to the operating funds.
Well,
yeah, it could be something to approach. I'm not sure what the actual town.
right. I think if we develop a budget and take the budget to town meeting, and we say we're going to spend, we're forecasting we're going to need X number of $1,000 for maintenance, for fencing, for toe markers, or whatever it is we're going to do. So once we get that budget, then that has to go to town meeting to get approval.
Right. Which we can, we've got some time to develop for, I mean, I'm writing a budget for the Parks and Rec right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
But if we're going to next month talk about laying out more lots.
Right.
But we have to wait until after April to get the money to buy corner markers and toe markers. That's a long time.
I believe in our budget system here, there is the cemetery commission like budget account, which has $9,000 in it,
We can,
which that I will double check
Exactly.
with finance, but I believe you could use that as
okay.
an operations account.
So we don't have to.
Charlie, that's not the CPC money.
No, that is different funds.
Different. Okay. All right. Thank you. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so we've got about $9,000 in what I'll call the operations account. The CPC grant money, we've got about $8,300 left.
Okay.
So again, we can, if we want to decide, I have a quote for under $8,300 to do Quaker Cemetery. So if we wanted to push forward with that, we could decide to do so.
So we could decide that today?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you all decide, I can.
I don't want to go forward with Quaker Cemetery until we have all
Yeah, I do.
all north and decided whether we're
Yeah.
satisfied.
Yep.
Okay. Good point. All right, so, cemetery budget for 2023, we'll work on that. Great. Okay, the internment form, this is item number 7. We've updated the internment, order for internment form by adding these 4 squares down here. So when somebody wants to bury and, to have an internment, they will fill out the form with the basic data, and within the lot, they can put up to 4 internments there. So we'll have an indication of which section of that lot it goes in, and that will help with when Ray and the guys are digging the hole. So, yeah.
Is there any other change, or is that it?
No, that's the only change.
That's an excellent thing to be doing.
Yeah, I know. So, I suppose we ought to do a vote. So,
Oh,
make a motion.
oh.
I'll move to add. Go ahead, Fran.
Okay, I second it.
Okay, a motion and second to approve the addition of 4 different squares within the special instructions box on the order of internment form. All in favor? Roll call, Barbara.
Aye.
Fran,
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so that is official. And that should help us. Okay, old, new, other business.
I'd like to drop down to the bottom thing here, the cemetery projects list, because the very bottom of it is fencing and brush removal at New and Old North cemeteries. And there was this request from the neighbors that the brush over by the steps into New North be cleared, and the fence, the old fence is still in there, and the new fencing be extended to the steps. But this is at the bottom of our priorities, so I'd like to ask when it would be feasible to do that.
We can start to look at that towards, we've got a lot of things like our fence and brush cutting that start up as kind of winter work for us as things die down.
Yeah, but this is fall.
Yeah, so we're getting there. We've got a big list of stuff, so we will
But
work on that.
Is it on the list?
It is.
Barbara?
I have 2 things. Are there things on that list we can now remove, like New North Cemetery or some of the other things, so we can, I don't know. And the other thing I wanted to bring up on new business is Fran and I, maybe it's old business, met with Lena Civitaries in the summer to ask to, Fran reached out to 2 younger people in the community who are Nantucket locals, but are considerably younger than the rest of us, to see if any of them might be interested in, future commission volunteering. And we met with Lena Civicherise, who's a teacher, and she was extremely positive and interested. And I just wanted to throw that out there and wonder how we can possibly move forward on some sort of role for people who might be interested in the future. That's all.
Okay, let me answer that. The simplest way would simply be to invite people to come to a meeting, to show an interest, and I mean, all our meetings are open to the public.
But the problem,
But she's a teacher.
both of the people we discussed are teachers, but our meetings, I understand, are accessible.
They are. All our meetings are being recorded as this one is. In fact, that's how Lee will do the minutes from the meeting. He'll take a look at the recording and take it off the minutes. So, so that would be one thing. Have them take a look at some of the previous meeting Zoom, or they're all
posted on YouTube on the town.
Yeah, on the town YouTube channel. And the nice thing about those is you can skip forward, skip over the boring parts and go right to the, the meat of the meeting or whatever. So that would be one approach, Barbara. And if they do have the time, if they can meet with us at 3 on a Wednesday, they're certainly invited to attend, or even if they could attend by Zoom, if depending on what their circumstances are.
Are we flexible as a commission to adjust the day and time?
I believe so.
If we wanted to back up a half an hour, the start time they might be allow them to get finish their day at school and attend the meeting in person if they wanted to, or at least maybe go home and attend via Zoom. I don't know if that's.
We could. The reason we put 3 o'clock is because of the schedule of the people here at DPW when we started meeting. They said, well, we got to leave here at 3:30, and you guys can stay as long as you want. But
Right.
So that's why we started at 3. So, and of course, that was pre-Zoom. Yes, Barbara.
Well, I wondered if we could make it a little more formal. I just want to throw out that, I was on the historic, whatever it was called, Nantucket Historic Commission as an alternate. I was a non-voting member, but I was participated fully other than voting. Is it impossible for us to consider something like that?
I would think so. I'd have to check with Erica about it and see what her feeling was on it. But my assumption is because we are a commission, that gives I won't say it doesn't give us power, but it gives us some authority. We set regulations, and that's so. We operate pretty independently as a commission. Obviously within the guidelines of the town and with the DPW and that sort of thing. But
Please do check,
Yeah.
because that would be very helpful.
All right, I'll check that out. I'll check with Erica because she's the source that I go to if I have a question dealing with structure and can we do this or not. So
I don't think we could, as other commissions have.
exactly.
The HDC has alternates. Who could step in and vote if the actual member's not there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I'll follow up on that too.
Thanks.
Okay, any other old, new, or other business or comments? I think we're all set with the agenda.
I think so.
If there's no further business to come before the commission, I declare that we are at the end of our agenda and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for coming in, Barbara.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure to do it on Zoom when you're traveling. Get to see all these friendly people.
I know. Lee's going to do the minutes. He's going to do it on the recording here. So we'll probably have those.
Very soon. But you've done it again, 4 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
gonna go, I'm gonna go beat Mark in miniature golf.
Great,
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
excellent.
Terrific.
All right.
All right, Tara, thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie, thank you for all your
All right.
input. And
So everybody
Advice.
see that this thing is recorded, just in case they be like, you didn't record it or something. I don't know.
yeah, no, the recording is really important because
I know, that's what I'm saying. So when Farisha be like, I don't see it, did you record it?
yeah.
And I was like, yes, I did. So it's not.
The solid square.
Oh, shucks.